Friday has been a day of breaking news as we already got the 49ers new cap figures. We have some additional moves going down. The San Francisco 49ers tweeted out that they have officially released nickel cornerback Isaiah Oliver. This is also going to have additional ramifications on the 49ers total available cap. They now get 2.4 million added to their overall cap allowance with this move. So as we know, the 49ers signed Isaiah Oliver to be their starting nickel cornerback this year. It felt like a move made by Steve Wilks. It felt like Steve brought in Isaiah Oliver to fill that role specifically. They signed him originally to a 2-year deal. So again, this clears up space and they get more additional money against the cap. Now, this is what Isaiah Oliver did last season. He appeared in all 17 games for the 49ers. He had 6 starts overall, and he registered 58 tackles, 2 passes defended, and 1 interception and a fumble recovery. And he also played in all 3 postseason games. Only 26 years old, but again, it just wasn't a fit for what the 49ers are trying to do. And as you guys remember, it was Deommodore Lenoir and Charvarius Ward on the outside, playing the outside corners. And then you had Isaiah Oliver as your nickel. But because he got benched, they had to make the adjustment of in base down, it was Demo and Ward. And then when they had to go into their nickel coverage package, Deommodore would kick into the nickel, and then they would bring Ambry Thomas off the bench. And again, it was just an indictment on Isaiah Oliver because Ambry Thomas struggled in that role. He had some good games, but he also had some bad games. And it really was an adjustment that the 49ers made basically out, it just was a situation where it didn't work out flat out. He came in to kind of be that nickel guy, and it just didn't work out. So the San Francisco 49ers cut their losses. They move on from Isaiah Oliver. And again, he started the first 6 and then just couldn't really see the field after that outside of special teams. So roster move coming up here today. And again, the San Francisco 49ers, we found out about the whole cap situation. The cap increased by 30 million, plus the 49ers are rolling over 38 million from last year. Now they get an additional 2.4 million in cap space. So they're getting woo. The 49ers got money to play with. So it is going to be fascinating to see how they address the cornerback position in free agency. Do they try to go out and trade for someone? I know the big name, and I want it too. I spoke to Patrick Surtain and interviewed him during Radio Row at the Super Bowl. And man, you talk about a humble, genuine, down-to-earth dude who's one of the more elite cornerbacks in this league. I don't feel like that's a combination you see very often, where these high-end cornerbacks are typically loud, kind of chirp, that like they talk like that's not Patrick Surtain. He is cool, calm, collected, super humble, regular dude. Like you just get that sense like, oh, we could hang out. Like you're just a chill dude. Young. I know 49er fans would love Patrick Surtain. And in that scenario, obviously you would have to trade for him from the Broncos. You then kick Deommodore into that nickel permanently. But man, you talk about having some of the top, that would be like the top secondary in the NFL. If you had Surtain, Ward, and Demo, that would be fascinating. But again, the point being is the 49ers got to continue to build out what this secondary is going to look like. So now this continues to kind of put an emphasis on the 49ers addressing cornerback. For me, I had cornerback as the number 3 rated position as what I wanted to see the 49ers address in the draft. But honestly, you might have to shift that over to free agency. I'm more of the thought process now with Isaiah Oliver being out with the San Francisco 49ers, the 49ers most likely not going to rely on Ambry Thomas other than a depth role, that maybe you go out in free agency and you try to sign a starting cornerback that can play on the outside and play that role. So it'll be interesting to see how they continue to manage this. Obviously, you've got Darrell Luter Jr. is a bit unproved. You still have Samuel Womack on the roster. Um, so, but I do think the 49ers will address this spot and potentially look towards the draft or free agency to get something done here. And hey, even a trade potentially. So, again, I'm not particularly surprised by this move. Clearly, when you start the first 6 games and you get benched and you can't see the field, even when the 49ers were still kind of struggling with finding the right solution at cornerback, it's not a great sign for your future with the team. So, and again, I do think Isaiah Oliver was a Steve Wilks guy. So we see Steve Wilks let go. And also on top of that, the guy that he brought in as a defensive backs kind of foundation as a defensive coordinator um, goes with him. So this is just the first uh, roster move where the 49ers have released someone. So it's actually going to be fascinating to see. Uh, it's going to be fascinating to see how the San Francisco 49ers build out this secondary, build out this roster. Remember, it's important to note that Tashawn Gibson is a free agent. You have Talanoa Hufanga coming back from the ACL injury in which he suffered against the Bucks in week 11. And then you have a second-year player in Jair Brown. So what do the 49ers do? Do they bring in veteran presence at cornerback? Do they bring in another veteran presence at safety to kind of insulate themselves from potentially any setbacks with either Talanoa Hufanga or Jair Brown? It's going to be fascinating to see. This is actually going to be, I think, one of the more exciting off seasons that we've seen in recent memory in regards to roster building, because we don't have questions at the quarterback position and we have a solid core that the 49ers can still build around, and now a ton of cap space. So the options are limitless, trades available, 11 draft picks, including a first round draft pick. The 49ers have options this offseason, and it is going to be phenomenal to see it all play out and see what moves are made. Let me know what moves you think the 49ers should make. Drop it in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.